Hi everyone, my name is John Lewis. I'm a 30-year-old nursing student, currently in my third semester of nursing school. So, what you would call a non-traditional student. This is actually my second attempt at college, and the reason I made this channel is to hopefully encourage someone who is thinking about going back to school and also share some tips on what I've learned that may help them when they go back. So today I'm going to talk about how I went from a 0.5 GPA up to a 3.7 GPA in a little over a year. And I think where I need to start is how I even got a 0.5 GPA in the first place. So when I first went to school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was 18, just out of high school, and I had a full-time job at the time. So I also thought I just had to do school. So in looking at all the majors, I decided to pick accounting. The reason I picked that is because I like math, I like numbers, and I thought that'd be something I could grow to like. So signed up for classes and started taking the prereqs. Unfortunately, I decided not to go to class a lot. I pretty much went to only 2 months worth of classes before I decided I'd rather just sit at home or go to work or play games or go out to eat or anything other than school is what I tried to do. So basically by the midterm, I decided to withdraw one class, and I thought that if I went into it full force, did all the work, I could bring my grade up. So I thought I was going to do that, and I went to a few classes after midterm, but by the end of it, I stopped showing up for class, didn't take any of the finals, and I ended up with pretty much all Fs. Somehow I got a D. I don't know how. Maybe I passed one test high enough to somehow eke out a D. So I pretty much made like 3 Fs and a D, which was horrible. Going into the next semester, I thought, well, I have to do better. I don't want to fail, and I've never failed classes like that before. So I went to the next semester thinking I'm going to make all these A's and it's going to be a complete turnaround, and that didn't happen either. I did show up to class a little bit more, but still by the midterm, I was flunking most of the classes. So I withdrew from one again, thinking I'm going to do the same thing. Go back, and I'll end up with a passing grade in the class. This is something I did a lot in middle and high school, so it's my thinking on classes at that time. I ended up flunking pretty much all the classes again, and they put me on an academic probation where I could not take classes again. So fast forward a few years, and also pretty much in doing that, I did end up with a 0.5 GPA, looking at my transcript. So fast forward 10 years actually, I decided to go back to school, and I found something that I was actually interested in, which of course is nursing. But in doing all my research before I started back school, I was looking at it and I was like, how am I going to get my GPA up to a 3.0? Because that's pretty much the minimum of most schools, what they require to even be considered for nursing school, if they weren't higher, depending on the school you went to. So I put my grades in GPA calculator, and I was looking at how many credits I would need to even get back to a 3.0, and it would have been an insane number. I think it was like 30 credits or so to bring my grades up from that low. So I was really discouraged at that point, and I just started doing more research of was there anything I could do to possibly change my grades or do anything that would not look at those old scores. And I found actually the perfect solution. It's called academic renewal. Now, every school may have a different name for it, but it pretty much works the same. For people in my situation who have been out of school a certain number of years, they can actually have it so that school only looks from their grades from the time they go back to the present. So my school's process was that I had to fill out some paperwork. I had to also submit a letter, just let them know how I was going to be a different student from the previous time. And I did all that, and luckily I did get approved. Oh, also another qualification for my school particularly was that I had to be out of school at least 5 years. So I did get approved for that, which was great. And I got back into school, and pretty much I made an A, a B, and a C. So those weren't the grades I really wanted, but that was a 2.9 GPA. And something that really helped me is having those grades to look at. It really made me happy to make those grades, because one of the biggest things that I had a problem with when getting back to school was the doubt. I wondered if I could actually even do school, if I had the capacity to learn, since at that point it had been 10 years since I've been in school at all. And it was really uplifting to see that. Also, it was a way to prove to my institution that 2018, 2019 me was not going to be the same as 2007, 2008 me, who pretty much flunked everything. So the way I brought it up to a 3.7 is that I just, in all the rest of my prereqs, made A's. I just tried my best. I went into it full force, and making the grades that I did at the beginning made me learn my inadequacies or things I need to change. I learned how to study better for me personally, and it really helped me make those better grades. And I also just put forth the effort. I did get a little lazy sometimes as far as the studying thing, but I made sure I didn't do it again. I put forth the effort, and I read, and I did all the things I need to do to make the A's. So that's how I got it to a 3.7 by the time I entered nursing school. Now, some notes about the academic renewal is that even though your institution GPA may change, that does not change your financial aid GPA. So I did have to end up paying out of pocket for that, because the government looks at every single grade that you have when they calculate your financial aid GPA. Also, another thing is that you have to have a 67% completion percentage of all the credits that you take. So basically what that means is that you have to have passed at least 67% of your credits to be able to get qualified for financial aid. So I had to pay out of pocket then, and it took me a long time to be able to get my financial aid GPA up. It pretty much just this semester got above a 3.0. After that first semester it was maybe a 1, and it took until, I think it was that summer, it took me a whole year of A's to even get it up to a 2.0, which was required for financial aid. So luckily I was able to do that and get the financial aid, because coming up with the money before then was really hard to do that and do school at the same time. So working and doing school was really tough. I know plenty of people do it, and you might be able to do it. It's just for me, I tried my best to work part-time and get all that done. So luckily I got through it. So that's one thing to note there. And it may be a little disheartening looking at your transcript, because for me it says like F, 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 and then like a C, and then a withdrawal. And so, but the good news is I can see the progression myself. So if you continue down that page, you see my A, B, and C, and you see all the A's. So that really is good to look at. It's nice to see progression, because when I submitted to nursing school, that was one of my worries as well. Can I get into nursing school when they see all these F's and C's and all that stuff? I think, because I don't know specifically, they don't tell you exactly what they look at, but I think, seeing all those low grades and see how I've brought it up to taking those same classes and making A's on them, it really looked good to whoever was looking at my transcript. So luckily that got me into nursing school, and I am where I am now, studying all the time, going to clinicals, but I love it. I really do. So definitely look into that if you've been out of school for a certain number of years. If you actually are just starting school at 18 and everything, I would definitely say pick a major that you're actually motivated to do. I know the purpose of a lot of prereqs is to find your niche, what you want to get into, but it definitely would help if you go into it either motivated to do well in school or you have a goal to reach. So I would definitely have those suggestions if you are just starting out of school and learning to succeed, or if you did bad your first semester, that doesn't decide how you're going to be in college. You can definitely progress and do better. The important thing is to know where you're falling short at and figure out a way to change it. So definitely don't be disheartened if maybe your first semester you did bad, or you didn't do as well as you can, because college is a whole different animal. So this was a long time ago, so I don't remember my exact mindset, but if you show up and if you talk to your teachers as well, that's a big thing that I learned coming back to school. Speak to your teachers if you're having trouble with learning any material, because these are the professionals, and most teachers I've experienced in college, they want to help you. So if you go to them, say I'm having this type of problem, they may know a different way you can learn. Or you can also look at your school should have some type of tutoring center. And these are students, and sometimes you learn better from a fellow student, a peer, than you learn from a teacher. because sometimes teachers can only use jargon, their particular terminology, which sometimes might go over your head. And a student may be able to break it down to where it might be more understandable for you. So anyway, I do want to take the time to thank you for looking at this video. I hope you enjoy the content. I'm pretty new to YouTube, so this is the second video I made, of course, you can see on my channel. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like so the YouTube algorithm can kind of notice me. That'd be great, and I hope you would subscribe because I do have plenty of content I'm trying to come out with. My goal is to have a video out every Sunday. I know I'm a bit late this week, and it's been about a week and a half since I posted anything, but I'm gonna try to get better at that. Just try to work on this YouTube mixed in with school and all that stuff. So definitely just keep your eyes peeled for me putting out content, usually once a week and maybe twice a week depending on how my classes and studying goes. So again, thank you for taking the time to look at my video, and I hope you have an amazing day.